are back. The time is now.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome one and all. It's the Geordie Yam Yam and the Mighty Win with you again this Tuesday lunchtime. Apologies, I feel a little bit rough. So I'm a bit peaky behind the ears, as that. Well, he says I look like this all the time. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm gonna plod on, and we're gonna see what we can do. Not a great deal of news out there. There's a couple. I have put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to come on board, have a chat with us, the link's in there. You can just literally jump on board. Don't have to show your face. If there's anything in particular that you guys want us to hammer home, we've got a couple of questions and a little bit of things going on in the background. Amanda Staveley, and the like. And there's a lad from BVB who's talking all about Woltemade, who's had a bit of a disappointment. It's a disappointing couple of games, really, being substituted in his second game, not really getting any demand or command of the ball within the box when he touches in the box, and it's caused a little bit of a concern. But we're gonna come on to him, and like I say, we're going to listen to a guy who's an expert in the German field. With players coming his way, so like I say, a lot of pressure on the lad's shoulders to perform, so potentially affecting his game. But anyway, before we do and get into all today's topics, then please, just like literally, we're going to go through everything as we would do normally, the housework and everything else. But like I say, if you can continue supporting us in all of the manner that I'm going to present to you now. So again, welcome to everybody watching across the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, hit that like button if you enjoy the show. It just helps us get further as a channel. Subscribe. It's totally free. Free. I'll take your teeth out in a minute. When hit the bell for any future content. We do loads of shows, sometimes double up. I'm on dinner time, and I'm also on tonight doing the live watch along with the England match. I'm on my own tonight because Wynn's out. So like I say, we'll be on there about 7:20. So again, you can join me there if you so wish. If you want to help us grow, you can become a member. It's a small fee, different levels to choose from. You choose whichever one suits yourself. But again, like I say, that does support us massively going forward. If you've got a question, like I say, put a Q in front of that question, but it ain't guaranteed. If you want to guarantee it, then throw us a Talk TV super chat using the $, and that'll get your message read out. And anybody that becomes a member during the show, or any of our lovely members that gift them, will be highlighted and thanked as we go. And like I say, if you want a bit of fun, if you want to join us, it's a £5 entry fee to participate in our prediction league. But like I say, it's not an easy thing. If you think we've already done 3 games, and like I say, the top to bottom, there's around about 3 or 4 points separating all of us. Like I say, predicting the Newcastle matches these days is like rocking horse poo. Very difficult to see. But like I say, you do get a prize.
Will it be though? Will it be going forward now that we've actually got a
striker? A couple of strikers, yeah, exactly. One seems as though he's not really left his boots anywhere and carried on, and the other one struggling at this present moment in time. Now, I caught your show, so I suppose we better start with that one. I caught your show. I saw Martin from Mancunian Way on the show last night, and by all accounts, from a couple of the lads that I've seen reporting, saying that it was a very, very good show. Apologies. Like I say, I've been a little bit under the weather, so I missed last night's show. So you're going to have to fill me in with you've been talking about it behind the scenes before we started, and just so I can get up to grips. It seems very much like, from what you're talking to me, that there's been an agreement between Manchester City and the Premier League about keeping it all behind closed doors. So no information will be leaked to the media. And they've agreed a settlement, like I say, out of court, if you like. But what seems to be very apparent is it's a bit of a gentleman's handshake that's come from this. So they abide by the APT ruling, even though it seems very much like they've been given the go-ahead for the Etihad deal. And you're not happy with this, are you, mate?
Well, it all seems a bit funny to me. City, in their statement, have accepted that the rules governing associated party transactions are valid and binding, and both parties have agreed to terminate legal proceedings. And strangely, neither party will now be making any further comment on what's gone on. But by all accounts, City are now free to pursue the sponsorship deal with Eddie Howe and the UAE Bank, whose initially, when those proposals were put to the Premier League said that they were they weren't going to sanction them because there were unfair transactions, unrealistic figures were involved. But now, by all accounts, again according to Martin last night, I thought the figure was 400 million, but Martin says it's going to be $1 billion plus that those deals are worth. And I simply say, well, if they can do a £1 billion sponsorship deal, why can't we? And Martin's argument to that was that we would need to justify to the Premiership that our entity, our club, was worth the same as Man City, bearing in mind that they've won X number of titles, they've been consecutively for 16 years in the Champions League, so on and so forth, and we haven't. So, I think it's time for PIF to put their big boys' pants on and just let's go and try and do a deal and see what they say. And then if they block that, do we take exactly the same legal route as Man City took and take them to court saying that the rules are anti-competitive? Because I think that it would be almost impossible not to find in our favour under those circumstances.
You're right. I mean, everybody who's in the chat seems to think that it was a little bit on the unjust side of things, like I say, a clandestine handshake. That's a big word for this time of the day. And like I say, it seems like bottled it is the big saying out there. There's a lot of conversations going on in the chat about it seems to leave a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth for me. And like I said, I haven't.
Well, I agree.
Really.
By the way, I don't blame Man City for any of this.
No, not at all. No.
Man City should be able to do what they want, as should we.
Yeah, because I mean, I tell you what, like I say, I'd seen a couple of the reports from the show last night, which seemed to have gone down a storm. I will go and watch it this afternoon. And I thought, you know what, before the show starts, I'm going to go and have a look at what is out there, because there's nothing worse than having 2 days literally in your sick bed and then wanting to get up for work and report on Newcastle or all things Newcastle United when you really haven't got much to think about. So Martin Ziegler, he's the chief sports reporter at the Times, and he obviously, since after the Monday brought news of the dispute having been settled by the Premier League and Manchester United, he thinks now that Premier League clubs now fear massive Newcastle United market-busting deals. But under those government restrictions, then, if the APT rules still exist for everybody else apart from Man City, then it doesn't seem as though it's very fair. And like you say, the anti-competitive nature of that deal in itself, and I suppose, like I say, with Man City agreeing that deal, all that does is, like I say, puts a little bit more gloss on the front door for them, doesn't it? and it certainly throws the blanket over everybody else. But they go on to say about Manchester City now appear to have got the go-ahead for a new huge deal with Etihad, which could be worth as much as £1 billion. Rival Premier League clubs clearly now worried that Newcastle United could potentially do the same. The man from the Times has specially referenced the judgment of a heavyweight legal panel in an initial arbitration challenge brought by Manchester City last year. Martin Ziegler quoting what the independent legal panel stated. So, indeed, the panel has been impressed by a sponsorship expert who gave evidence of the long-term benefits of the partnership between Etihad and the club owned by a senior figure in the same country, named His Highness Sheikh Mansour, and pointed out that a sponsorship deal is not a homogenized product like milk. Another pointed out that some sponsors may wish to pay a premium because they wish to benefit from the geographical connection between them and the rights to be sponsored, and that brands based in Abu Dhabi wish to affiliate themselves with MCFC. And again, it goes on to say, like exactly what you just said there about, sometimes the relationship between one party and the other, because of the history, the recent history, if you like, of Man City and what they've achieved and won, it is going to gain a lot more hierarchy, sponsorship, if you like, than Newcastle, because we are still at the foot of the stairs and we're taking a step at a time. But again, the main papers are stating that, the doors are open now. The doors are ajar because of this ruling that's been, agreed. But to you and what was said by Manchester City and the Premier League is that the APT rule must stand. So this is absolute BS then.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be seriously argued that it is APT which forced us to sell Isak to Liverpool, because the reason Paul Mitchell probably validly at the time gave for not increasing Isak's contract as he'd been promised by Amanda, allegedly, was because we couldn't afford it. And we know we couldn't afford it because we had to sell Anderson to Nottingham Forest and Minty to balance the books. So we didn't have the money in the coffers to pay at that particular time for a new deal. So that was when Isak got pissed off, because he'd been promised a new deal, and when Paul Mitchell came in for probably valid reasons, said, no, you're going to have to wait, son. That was what pissed Isak off initially. I'm pretty sure that when Paul Mitchell had come in, he'd given Isak a new contract, then we wouldn't have been going through what we've had to go through this summer. So it can be argued that APT directly cost us the services of Isak. Now
Right.
then, what Newcastle United, for me, now need to do is put this to the test. Instead of letting somebody else run with the ball for us, let's get a, £200 million sponsorship in from Aramco or whatever, and just see where we go. Because right now, it looks as though, we've said it all along that the top six are just getting further and further away. Imagine if Man City get this, £1 billion sponsorship, they're already triple the revenue that we are, and they get this, it just pushes them even further away. So, it has to be challenged, because the rules are not fit for purpose, and they're patently not fit for purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
Martin...
it's then a question of persuading the 14 clubs in Premiership who are necessary to push a change in the rules through.
Yeah.
Unless, again, we can prove that they are illegal, which negates having to do that, of course. But other than that, we need to get the other 14 on board.
Well, I think that's the thing now, isn't it? Like I say, because I've just been reading a bit further down while I was listening to you. And exactly what you've just said there. So basically, if Manchester City and Etihad are going to be waved through as a special exemption on this kind of basis, that their special circumstances and existing relationship stroke connection means a far higher value can be attached to the deal as opposed to with a random other sponsor, then why not the same for Newcastle United? ? And then it goes down and it talks about the APT ruling and everything else. And we all know about that. It's been, we've been talking about it for so many months now. But it does state, the APT rules state that the commercial play of deals between related parties approve of their fair market value. That's
the key.
Yeah, and it goes down to say that for those rival clubs who have to do deals in the open market alone, that could be a severe setback, right? So again, these guys are answering the question, the question mark at the top. So why can't Newcastle? Well, I think you've just answered it. Because we are seen as the also runs, trying to play catch up with those that have been granted this. It doesn't give me a lot of hope, mate, going forward, unless we start playing in the big boy league, and that means potentially going in there and asking, if they can do it and they've been sanctioned to do it, then what is the reasoning for us not to be able to do it, even though we've got sponsors that are willing, that are linked, if that they're talking about a relationship with the club, that are linked with our club going forward. I think this just seems so one-sided again. As much as I enjoyed reading the opening couple of paragraphs, that seems to be completely relinquishing the reins around Newcastle's neck. It seems very much in the next sentence, we can't do it because we just won't be in alignment with the APT ruling.
Yeah. Well, we've got Arsenal Avenger in the building. The APT rules are there to protect the league because otherwise it will become the Newcastle Premier League. There's no evidence at all that will happen because historically there has always been one club outspending another club and still things happen that, prevent it being exactly that. What it is, Arsenal Avenger says everything. What the APT rules are doing are protecting yours and the rest of the cartel's positions at the top of the tree and preventing anybody else claiming up that tree. And that is not what the Premier League should be all about. The more teams that are challenging for that top prize, the better the league is. And the more money that comes in, it eventually, the only reason for getting more money is to be able to pay players, buy players and pay players. And as long as there's more money coming into the Premier League, that's better players that are going to come into the league, which retains the Premier League's position as the predominant league in world football.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing happened in Italy in the 80s when they had all the money. And so all the players were going to Italy, and that made the Italian league kept getting better and better and better and better. And we were getting left behind. They came up with the Premier League, which is brilliant. It's worked absolutely fantastically. but to gradually overtake all the other leagues and become the best in the world. And the reason it's the best in the world is because there's more money in it, which originally came from the Sky money. You know, the Sky deal was the one thing that kick-started the Premier League. And now that we're in that position, we need to stay there. And the only way we can stay there is by spending more money than the rest of the leagues in the world so that we get all the best players.
You see, for me, I mean, Geordie Dan has somewhat hit the mark with his comments a few minutes ago.
By the way, for some reason, I can't store any comments.
That's all right, mate. I'm you know me, I always go through them as I see them, and I'll throw a few up on the screen anyway. The cartel, the Premier Super League, and unfortunately, you know, as much as that was part of the argument, I think, to get some of these ruling through the board that they will obviously want to join a Super League if they don't get, you know, what they want. Very Isak-esque, if you ask me, when you throw your toys out the pram. You know, for me, it is a case of, and I think Gaz put in the comment, it's gone past me now. I would have put it up earlier, mate. Has done exactly what I was thinking. When Amanda Staveley came to us in 2017 to ascertain an agreement with Ashley, and obviously got knocked back, I think if that had have happened then, instead of 5 years later, well, 4 years later, I think we'd have been in a different situation now. I do believe that 4 years of being pushed down a bit further away has left us in that situation now as also runs, because there's too much ruling now.
Because it's specifically in the case in Newcastle, because bear in mind, pre-Ashley, our revenue was, I think our revenue was about the third highest in the league.
In the league, yeah.
Until Ashley came in, did away with all the exterior sponsorships so that he just had Sports Direct all over the place. He didn't want anybody else spoiling his beautiful advertising.
Absolutely.
And so our commercial revenue just plummeted.
Of course. We are streets, well, I would say, we're cities away from the
Well, we're
people
14
around
years
us.
behind.
Yeah, of course. But isn't it funny though? You know, again, you look at the people, and again, this isn't any discreditment to any of you guys in the chat that are watching the show. It doesn't matter what colour you wear. We invite you all. But isn't it strange how it's only certain sections of fans that oppose us going forward? Because again, it's trying to keep us between everybody else, and you know, Arsenal Avenger there. You know, it's the same as everything else. To me, the reasons why I stopped watching European football, I used to love Italian football. I mean, Italia 90 for me was one of those go-tos on a Sunday afternoon, having me Sunday lunch. I used to love watching Italia 90. Go Lazio! You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was Channel 4, wasn't it, that it used to be on?
It was.
And you know, for me, what I used to find with a lot of leagues is it was the same teams year in, year out that were competing for the top 2 or 3 positions, and it hasn't changed in a lot of the. You know, you do get the odd minnow come through, but it's very rare that they knock any of the top guns off the pedestal. And to a degree, that was what was happening in the Premier League when it started in the early 90s. You know, you could see there was a number of people that were jostling. I mean, we all know Alex Ferguson was very close to getting the sack if it wasn't for Sharp's goal against Barcelona in the far corner. I think he would have gone. The Mighty Quinn's got a question. I think this ruling shows a sign of weakness from the Premier League. It means Man City got them rattled, meaning they can be got at. But I think the problem is it's what sanctions we were put under when Amanda Staveley came with Bob Cap. And this is what I said. For me, it seems as if we're being too quiet. We're being too nice. And I think
within two weeks of the takeover being sanctioned, before the ink was dry on the paper, they introduced the new rules.
Yeah. It's as if they knew what was coming to me.
Yeah.
Are you in the same thinking?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think the ruling was
Listen, I don't think anybody anywhere in the world of football thinks any differently. No, there are, I suppose, laudable. Our very own Tim is saying that he doesn't think it's right that one club should be able to totally dominate with as much money as they want. And there's no, but what should be the case is that every club can spend at least as much as another one, as long as they're not going into debt. And this is the key. What everybody fails to realise is, like Man United are £1.4 billion in debt.
Mm.
And it's only because they've got the super revenue streams that they've built up over decades that they can service that debt. You know, if all of a sudden their performances start being reflected in the amount of revenue they can earn, they could end up in very, very sticky waters.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think this is going to go away very quickly, but I have an absolutely nasty taste in my mouth that for Amanda Staveley to get us through. And I mean, listen, we all know that they'd got the BN issue and they had to pay a substantial fee to get that gone. But I think there was lots of little, dots to make and crosses on the T's before they were given the full sanction to go ahead. And like I say, for me, for us being far too quiet and too nice, and we listen to a lot of guys that know the Saudis really well, that live in Saudi Arabia, understand the way they work, and they aren't meant to to mess around with. They say it as they see it type of people, but it seems as though they are sat much more in the background when it comes to the Premier League than any other club that this, like I say, unlike Abu Dhabi, who seems to be literally at the forefront of everything and wanting to push the red button just to try and unhinge the Premier League. But like I say, for me, it's getting more anti-competitive and more value to watch because it's the same teams. We're going back to the European competition, if you like, from decades ago, where it is that only the said few that will be competing, and people will always say that that's how it always was. But yes, to a degree, but there was never the massive shift between the two. What won Manchester United all of those titles was they were lucky to have that class of '92. Coming through their training ground, through their academy, all at the same time. Then that is few and far between in any academy.
That'll never happen again.
No, I can't see
five
it
full England internationals coming through.
Yeah,
at the same
coming
time.
through.
Having said that, you've got to take your hat off to Fergie for being able
for
to.
seeing
I'm saying England, of course. Giggs was Welsh, but well done to Fergie for managing that whole process. And
did you say Giggs was Welsh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but his brother's wife was English, so he's okay. Anyway, that's another story. Yeah, better keep away from that one. Yeah, common error.
We'll leave those stories to Gaza, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Some funny stories from Gaza. Right then, let's get on because I'm like I say, I just get a little bit cheesed off. I think.
Yeah, as I say, I think it's time for PIF to put the big boys' pants on and test the water at least. With a training ground spot, we had a Liverpool fan commenting early doors saying Newcastle need to get a training ground sponsor, get their academy sorted. Well, they're doing
it's
that
moving.
slowly
Yeah,
but
it's
surely.
moving.
That doesn't happen overnight, but it is moving. And of course, we're kind of in limbo on the stadium thing purely because of the fact that we're saddled, in inverted commas, with St James's Park until at least 2028.
Yeah.
For the Euros, which is all done and dusted. So we certainly won't be moving before then. However, there's nothing to stop us, in my opinion, if we're going to get the permission at Leazes Park, which every day that goes by seems more and more likely, despite the Friends of Leazes Park protesting and shit. It looks like that's definitely going to go ahead. And indeed, there was a thing saying that should be announced by the end of the month now that Hopkinson's in position.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I think I'm going to put this on, Pensby lad. Newcastle seem to want to skip the process of building your team. Liverpool were almost in receivership and they had to slowly build. We were finally back when Klopp was hired. I think you've got to stop the narrative when it comes to, we want to skip the process. The only way you build the team is by having, funds in the background, commercial and stuff like that. And unfortunately, in our situation, because of current owners, we've never really had the opportunity to throw money into the team, unlike Liverpool. Now, if you were close to receivership, and I don't think that was because of Klopp was hired. I think that was obviously, you've got guys in the background that seem to be running a very tight purse string at the time to keep you on the straight and narrow. I thought Klopp brought a good team together and got them working together. And there were some named players there that I must admit I would have overseen or overlooked if they weren't introduced to Liverpool's team. But it isn't us trying to get the process or skip a process, because we've never had an academy, ever. I mean, that's something that you've got to remember. Liverpool have always had an academy. All of the big 6 or 7 have always had a decent academy. Even Everton and Leicester have got a tremendous academy. Newcastle, never, ever. And for me, it's a case of, yes, I totally agree, Pensby. You have got to start from the grassroots and you've got to work up. And I must admit, like I said, I'll dip my cap to Mitchell because he has put a lot of effort into our academy in his tenure, his 1-year tenure, and brought some good lads in. But again, are they going to be, up to the standard that we see in Liverpool, we see in Arsenal? I don't know. I keep looking at them. There was a good goal scored by Alabi against Germany under 17s. He looks like he's going to come through. But again, are they at their standard like the likes of young Rio at Liverpool? No, they're not. Can they grace the grass at St James's Park with the first team and make a change, make a difference? No, they can't. So, like you said, it's not about skipping steps, because if you haven't got that step in place, you have to build the team first. Because once you've got a team, and when I say a team, I don't mean
can I just address it though, because he's saying you want to skip the process of building your team. This is skip the process of using 9 Steve Bruce players who cost coppers to beat the mighty PSG. Is that skipping the process, is it? Because this has been a very carefully done process. The trouble is now that we've got there without skipping the process, by very much going through the process, we're at the stage now where the only way we can compete with the big boys, for want of a better expression, is by spending the same amount of money that they are spending.
Thanks,
so
Johnny.
To say that we've skipped the process is absolute bollocks, by the way.
Yeah.
Johnny Nufc.
Yeah, he's been on holiday for 2 weeks. Thanks for the $9.99. I hope you enjoyed your holidays. Where did you go, Johnny? He's not been around for the last 2 weeks, but been watching, so he's not been in the chat. So welcome back, Johnny.
Good man.
I hope you've got lots of white marks, matey. Yeah, so you're right. I mean, it is about skipping one part of the process, if you like, and that's the academy. Right now, like I said, I'll come to you, Mr. Bait Red, in a second, or Batty Red, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Because again, it's a genuine question, and it's something that we need to address on that one. But for me, it's a case of you have to build a squad before you can build around it. Because if you haven't got the right builds, it's like building a house, isn't it? You wouldn't just build the bricks up. You want the foundations first. Perfect. But like I said, somewhere along the line, you may have to get the cheap labourers to put the foundations in before you start making a quality, upper apartment. And I think that's where Newcastle are at the moment. Because we have been really cheap when it comes to everything behind the scenes. Apart from St James's Park and what dons that green, everything else that's gone in the background years ago was non-existent. We never talked about it. Am I right or wrong with?
And there was nobody feeling sorry for us then.
No, exactly.
And indeed, Mike Ashley voted against.
I was just going to say, this is what he said. Surprised that Newcastle never had an academy. Why is that? Genuine question. I always thought the Premier Leagues had academies. We did have an academy. But to be fair, it was like...
It was garbage.
It was like a Sunday league. That's how I look at it. I went down to watch a couple of games, and it was, like I said, it was school kid stuff.
And any player
not really run properly either, if I'm honest.
Any young player worth their salt.
Well, even
did not want to be. Sunderland had a far better academy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And another thing that's really interesting, and I've only just seen this since we've had, is it Jack Ross on board?
Yeah.
We're now looking at Scotland. Our neighbouring country, but literally it's an hour away if you want, and we've never scouted there.
Yeah. But isn't it funny? Going back in the day, we've got Liverpool supporters in the chat there. Back in the day, Liverpool probably had half a dozen brilliant Scottish players, and we had share of Scotland. Every Premiership team in the country had a sprinkling, at least, of Scottish players. They just seem to have dried up. Is that because they've stopped playing football in Scotland, or what?
You certainly don't have the influx like you used to. You look 70s, 80s, 90s, and even 2000s.
I mean, it could be because they're now competing with
Europe.
All the not just Europe, but all the African nations,
the
as
third
well,
nation,
and South Americans and so on that were, they were a rarity.
They were
back in the day, and so they've got to be better than them now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Is it that they are hungrier than they are and try hard? I don't know.
Well, like I said, I think sometimes
it begs the question: what's happened to all the talent in Scotland?
I think they're still there, but I mean, you look at some of there's a lot of Scottish players now play in Europe. They've moved allegiance altogether and moved across. I mean, Ian is probably going to be the main guy to talk about what's happened to Scottish players and why we haven't got a dominance like we used to have of players coming south of the border. Anyway, I suppose let's move on to a little bit light-hearted. Well, you class it as light-hearted. Nick Woltemade has played 2 games for Germany, and his last game was pretty poor by all accounts. Again, didn't watch the game. I know you banged on the door to get us to watch it, and if I'm honest with you, mate, I'm glad I never opened my eyes to have a look at the text. Touches 16, touches in the box 3, successful dribbles nothing, and he was dispossessed 3 times. Now, have we got a concern? Have we got a concerned player, or is it literally just? Well, he did get the 1 assist. You're right, Geordie. He got an assist in the first game. To be fair, for me, he just was. It was nil and void of ideas across the team. That's what it looked like for me with Germany. A team that had been thrown together very quickly, and my question, right, and this is an open question to everybody in the chat. Now, I've like I say, I've watched the highlights of the second game with Germany, but I watched the first game. We did the live watch along, and I was really, really, I mean, a gasp what I saw with talent on the. at centre back, right? We've got Malik Chow, this German, who's supposed to be the dog's Balearics, and yet he can't get into the German squad. And I look at these two who were so inept of the ball bouncing in front of them or losing angles when the player was running it in off the shoulder. I start to question of why the likes of Rudiger and what was the other one? Tear, isn't it? It is Tear. How these two get in. Well, he can't even get in the squad. And I really did struggle to see how these two that had formed this partnership in the international side, and we've got Malik Chow, who's supposed to be, again, I don't know much about the lad apart from what I've seen in highlights, so I don't want to be giving him a misjustice here, and he's certainly not here to defend himself. Let me just add that. But have we made a Jonathan Tah? Thanks, Ionesta. Have we got a problem here with a couple of these players? I mean, I haven't seen a lot of this one, so I can't say. But what I've seen of Woltemade hasn't blown me frock up yet, mate.
If you're talking about his performances for Germany in the last two internationals, I completely agree with you. But I think that's down to the fact that the whole team have been poor. You know, so when a whole team is poor, the people who suffer the most are the strikers, because they're not getting the ball, and they're not getting the ball in the right places or at the right time, etc., etc., etc. Let's judge him on what he does in the. But again, I've always warned against this. I said, do not expect instant. I mean, I hope we'll get instant results.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's possible that we will, but it can take time for players to acclimatise. Look at Wirtz at Liverpool. He's looked like a fish out of water. For me, in the 3 games Liverpool have played. I haven't been impressed one little bit for 116 million. I'm thinking, what? So this is the dilemma that Eddie's got on Saturday, isn't it?
It is. But well, like I said,
who's he going to start up front?
I tend to agree with Iniesta. I said this. I think what you get with Woltemade is a different style of player. He's not a lone striker. He's not a target man. He hasn't got. For me, he's too stationary.
For Germany, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But not
for Stuttgart. Yeah. Exactly. He looks a different player, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So and again, I've managed to track down. This gentleman, forgive me, I don't know his name, but obviously, he's it is in my mindset somewhere, but again, it's slipped my mind. But he's got good words, and he's just given us another minute here of what we should anticipate this type of player coming. I just want to make sure that I have got it open for everybody to listen to. Let me make sure the sounds are yes. Here we go.
You've got a quality player that's got a very diverse set of skills. And I think that as long as you don't have the expectation of a one-for-one replacement for Alex Isak, I think you've definitely got a player with enormous development potential that's got a very unique style and that can provide quality to your side in a way which you probably are not expecting. But I think it's very good that you've got Yohan Wissa, who is a proven goal scorer in the background, who may well slot into Alex Isak's kind of position as a number 9. Have you paid too much? Well, at the end of the day, you were wanting to get the Alex Isak sale done. He was not happy at the club, which was causing unrest. And, you knew the kind of money that was coming in. And Stuttgart basically were happy to wait for the right offer. They'd already turned down a 60 million offer. So, I mean, that's football, really, at the end of the day. If you come in last minute, then you can't expect to be able to dictate the terms. You've got to.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, he's saying, it is going to be a case of wait and see. Like you said, he's a different type of player. He's not the type of player that will run in behind type of thing at times, but he likes the ball to feet and he likes to be able to turn and run. Very similar to Asula. Asula looks lost when he's tasked to do a job up top. Again, a little bit rabbit in headlights. So are we going to have a same or a similar situation? For me, he potentially could be the 10 that sits in the hollow because, like I say, he's good with his feet. He's got a good
Very
pass
good
on him.
with his feet.
Yeah, he's got it for his size. And obviously, he gives us a little bit more competition in the air. So I do think, like I say, you probably won't see the full benefit from him maybe this season.
But I do think I hope it's not going to take a season. God forbid.
It's about the understanding, isn't it? And like I say, sometimes you can throw a pass out into the right place, but if your teammates hasn't watched or run with it, it makes the player who's played it a fool. You got me? So it could take him a while. Instead of making or automatically just producing the goods, he may delay what he can produce. That's what I'm saying, until further on into the season. Maybe not next year, but it may be a bit of a delayed one until you see the full production from this lad. Because, like I said, nobody wants to grace any ground. It doesn't matter who you play for and look a fool. You know what I mean? Everybody, and again, I haven't been very confident in Elanga yet. And what I've seen from Elanga's product, for 55 million. So again, that's why I'm asking the question about
Batty Reds saying need some patience around new players, especially young players from another league. Need a 15 to 20 game sample size to make any judgment.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, what also comes, and we talk about mental pressure. What also comes of this couple of performances potentially is one, Nagelsmann isn't for me the coach to take Germany forward, but also as Batty Red just said there, he has moved, and we all know that this can affect you mentally. So the mental fatigue and everything else does make you look like you're running through mud a lot of the time. So it does make you wonder whether the move to Newcastle is also putting a little bit more of a strain on him. There was a quite an interesting look. And unfortunately, we have to talk about it to a degree. Alexander Isak donned for the first time for Sweden and had his opportunity to open the floodgates and give everybody his views. But to be fair, he was more interested in telling everybody how many weeks he was on strike, which is strange, really. Yeah, I didn't know. Fucking 8 weeks on strike, you lazy bugger. So yeah, there you go. 8 weeks he was on strike, according to Alexander Isak. But yeah, well, I mean, did you expect us to hear anything else of Alexander Isak?
Well, wait. There was like a teaser, wasn't there, saying he was going to be involved in Sweden media work, etc. But nothing did appear, did it? So
no, absolute rubbish.
And
like I said, it was the only thing that I got from it was the words that he said. He got what he wanted, Again, it's like I say, it's not putting any gloss on these players' contracts. And
he whose name shall not be mentioned evermore.
Evermore, yeah, exactly. So it was an interesting one where he had the opportunity to give us his idea of what went on. It never appeared. Another thing, obviously, another person who's been heavily mentioned in the press recently is Amanda Staveley with her PCP bidding for Spurs. And there's a lot of fans very upset. A lot of fans wanted to see Amanda coming back and to support. But I don't think that would ever happen.
I
If
don't
I'm
think
honest with you.
sadly, it's not going to happen. No.
No. And again, you can't fault her in a business to move to other ventures. I mean, we've known for years, for several months now, that she's been involved, or a party's been involved in clubs down south in the capital. So it looks very much as though this one bid that was turned down, apparently she can't bid for the second one or bid again until somebody else comes in with a bid. And then they can go forward and bring it some more business. But she was
Joe
on.
Louis has said not for sale.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit like we said, not for sale.
Yeah.
Until somebody comes along with the right sort of money.
Absolutely. She was high performance to do an interview about Eddie Howe. And this is what she had to say.
We desperately wanted Eddie to come and join us. To get Eddie, we interviewed over 30 people. We looked at every player, and there was two outstanding candidates. One was Unai Emery and Eddie. And Eddie was just unbelievable. He had a track record of getting up, but he just obviously had Bournemouth relegated. So there's a lot of people who were saying to me, well, there's a lot of agents that are thinking, well, I know I don't want them to take Eddie because I don't get paid. So they'd be saying, well, that guy, if you take him, you'll be relegated. And Amanda, I know that, I know you're not very well versed in football. This is very new to you. We don't want you to look stupid. And so you'd say, thank you, appreciate that. So luckily you've got to rely on your fantastic board, which was there, which we had him from day one. And they were so good. They took, and Yasser has a very good sense and loved Eddie straight away. And he didn't really get to speak to Unai, but it was the perfect manager. And God, he's just extraordinary.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I would imagine your face lit up when that come on. It seemed as if you were
just stating the blindingly obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at him there with his t-shirt. I mean, like I said, it's a funny one, isn't it? Where, I am so glad that we didn't go for Unai Emery. I just don't think the lad's got any man management skills whatsoever. Interesting one. I'm going to jump sideways because we talked about Eddie. We know exactly
I think that's probably a bit harsh, Gary, because obviously we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. No,
but we talk about players in the past who have struggled under certain managers. Now, I liked Benitez as a coach. I thought he was a very, very adept coach. Unfortunately, he's probably well out of his depth now. He's very much like myself, gone further backwards than he has forwards in his life when it comes to football knowledge.
Bizot.
So,
Bizot.
And again, we've listened to the likes of Unai Emery and his
Bizot.
camaraderie in front of the cameras. But you listen to a lot of players from the Benitez days who said exactly the same. Great coach, but when it comes to man management, they just haven't got a way of dealing with it. Now, for me, as Eddie gone too far the other way, we've seen the dealings with Isak. We've seen the report that you gave us a few weeks ago, where he was frightened to a degree of changing the dynamics of the team because of the way Isak's behaviour was. The question for you, his lover of all, has Eddie stepped the mark? Has he gone too much of a friend rather than the foe towards the players?
I just rely on his judgment to know who needs the stick and who needs the carrot.
And I think that most of us do.
As all good managers, work out. We saw the interaction that the interview that Giggs did with about Fergie, and he said he got a bollocking off Fergie. Giggs got a bollocking off Fergie for not wearing a tie in that at some function or other. So he had to go and get a tie and put a tie on. And then in strolls Cantona in a dead casual sort of summery shirt, da-di-da, and Fergie turns on and says, "Hey, I see if you can carry someone off like that, Giggs, you'd be all right." or words to that effect. He's just tore a strip off Giggs in front of everybody for not being dressed appropriately, and then walks Cantona completely casually just says, "That's the way you do it." So it's just man that was man management to a T, and Giggs accepted it. It wasn't as though he didn't like it. He made it clear that he was unhappy about it happening.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we can see from his trophy-littered career, it didn't do him any harm, did it?
Not at all. No, exactly. And I think that's it, isn't it? Sometimes, as players, I think, like you said, that, you have to be governed. It's like, it's like anybody. To get the best out of anybody, you've got to know when to love and when to rollick, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it's like having family, isn't it? Sometimes, we're all happy but sometimes you just have to tell the kids off, to give them direction. To get the best out of them. It doesn't always bloody work, but we do our best. Moving on to Matty Targett then. Potential, obviously, over the international break. We've seen Matty Targett at the Borough against Preston the weekend.
I must admit I missed that.
It was one of them games. It was like one of them. I wouldn't say I was paying too much of attention to any football over the weekend, if I'm honest. But obviously he's on loan from Newcastle, and we know that Borough are looking for a left wing back. And as much as Matty Targett has done well since he come in, and what has been mentioned by those at Borough, he remains an option for us because he's done so well, said the Borough coach. I've mentioned plenty how important it is to me to have players who can play 2 or 3 different positions. That gives me more opportunity to play first and foremost. Also, it allows us to show adaptability game to game, and also within games. Sammy has shown now in 4 high-level performances in 4 tough games, he's more than capable of playing the role. So this is talking about the coach. If he disappears, not only is that really good for the wage structure, if you like, regarding Newcastle, because it's 100k off the bill. He's also a player that's not going to be utilised very often.
I don't think it will be 100k off the bill, by the way.
Well, no, we'll have to pay some towards it.
We looked
we'll pay him off.
At the time that he went on loan, the Borough average wage was 25k.
Yeah.
So they'll not be paying the full 100k. You can
but obviously we'll pay him off. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And there'll be some, remunition to get back from it. But again, what's the point in having a player on the books if he's not going to make it any further forward? There is no point. And really, that is because it's International Week. I'm so glad this is the last couple of days of International Week.
The only other thing to mention is that Wissa playing at 5 o'clock tonight, which you'll be able to watch on FIFA Plus. Free app, download it, and you can watch Wissa. 5 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
But of course, that means that he won't be setting off until tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a 14-hour flight, apparently.
Yeah.
So the absolute earliest that he'll be in training is Thursday morning. So that'll only give him 2 days training with the boys prior to the Wolves game.
Yeah.
So there is another facet to the dilemma that Eddie's got on who does he play.
Yeah, somebody in the chat earlier said is Woltemade at training this morning, and I said until they release the videos, unless somebody's there with a camera that puts it
Well,
on.
I don't think he'll be
socials.
there this morning. He'll certainly
probably
be
start
there
tomorrow. Yeah,
So he'll have one extra day training and another day's rest from travelling over Wissa, which could be another deciding factor in who starts if they don't both start on Saturday.
Excellent. Right then, well, I think that is it. Like I say, there isn't a lot of news. We'll keep our ears pinned. Bizot. Like I say, he's off out on the jollies watching the game with his mates tonight.
No, I'm not. I wish I was. No,
you not?
No, I'm going for a meal.
Oh, okay.
It's for a family birthday.
Oh, right, okay. I thought there was going to be some flowers on the table.
No, sadly, okay. I'd rather be watching the match.
Oh, bless you.
I'd forgotten.
Well, have a lovely time anyway, whatever you're doing. And I suppose before we go any further, we better give our main man, Johnny NUFC. Thank you so much, mate. Glad you had a holiday. Glad to see you back with us. Lovely to see that you're nice home and safe. I suppose it's back to work for you as well. Not great news, but like I say, I'm glad you've enjoyed your holiday, and thanks so much for your super chat, buddy. Come and join me. I'll be doing the watch along Billy Now Mates tonight, doing the England match. Like I say, I'll do live again. I don't know what time the match is. It 8 o'clock tonight, the kickoff?
It will be an 8 o'clock kickoff, I think.
Well, I might.
Oh no, because hang on, it's in.
It's yeah. I'm gonna say it's. Is it 7:45? Because we're in.
Just find out.
We're in Serbia tonight, aren't we?
Serbia.
I'm sure somebody in the chat will give us the nod before you. Back. The Oni Devils back
at 1945 kickoff.
There you go. So that's it. You've got me for chatting to you guys. So I want you some feedback from you lot. Talking
get in,
about
get the comments, keep them going.
Hopefully we'll have a couple more English Newcastle lads playing in the lineup, so it'll be interesting. Anyway, until 7:20 tonight, it'll be a goodbye from him. Well, he won't be there tonight.
From him.
And
how are the lads?
Lassies and bairns. Have a lovely afternoon, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Ciao, ciao.
Ta-ra for now.